Hi everyone, this is your Thursday guided reading and we're going to be answering the wonder questions that you should have answered yesterday. So I'm going to go through the answers in this video, so if you've not done it already, just pause the video here, go back to your task from yesterday, look at the wonder extract that I posted and the questions as well, and have a go at answering those comprehension questions in your book on a piece of paper. Again, here's the link to the film, so if you've not watched the film, I highly recommend doing that at some point as well, because it's a great movie, and to also read the book, because just like in Harry Potter, there are some things in the book that don't get put into the film, and I think it's really nice that you can read and watch it and do some comparisons. But we're going to go into the questions now, so have them in front of you ready for you to do your marking. I'm going to leave this on the page now, so I'm going to quickly just go through the text. This was 4 slides of the text, so you can pause it to have a read of it if you need to, but I'm not going to read it out as I did that on the previous video. But you can have a look at it on the screen now, you can silence me, you can pause it and you can have a read on your own. Again, pause it if you need to have a read. Lots of nice dialogue in this text between Mum, Dad and Oggy about the scenario of Oggy going to school. Okay, so as we enter our questions, we've got the first 3 that are on the question text. So number 1, look at the paragraph beginning, "It was a long drive home," which is right at the beginning of the text, and find a copy a word that means dribble. So the word I'm looking for is the word drool. So when Oggy was drooling, he put a towel there to protect his sister as his head was on his sister's knee. So the word is drool. That's 1 mark for that one. We just can't keep avoiding situations that. In the circle, choose a word that situation is the closest meaning to. So what would situations mean? Circle 1, and the 1 is schools, okay? It was a very tight one between schools and problems, but in this scenario, they are talking about the schools being the issue, and the schools are the ones that Oggy is going to get upset about, and the situation is obviously it is the school that Oggy doesn't want to go to. So in this scenario, the word situation is closest to the meaning of schools, and I've slightly circled it, but it's just gone a little bit off centre, but you can see it's schools. And then number 3, one word which could replace the underlined word below. So it says, "I didn't see the point in telling you and getting you all worked up." So worked up is my underlined word. What could I change it to? A synonym or an antonym, which is like a similar word that doesn't have the same meaning. So you could say upset, annoyed, frustrated, worried, anxious. So when someone's telling you you're getting worked up about something, you're obviously getting upset or annoyed about it. So it could go one direction. We didn't want Oggy getting scared, getting frustrated, getting angry, and we also didn't want him feeling anxious or saddened about the idea of him going to school. So if you've got something along those lines, then you can give yourself 1 mark. Okay, so number 4, how did Oggy know it was night time? It's only 1 mark, but there was 2 things that you could have. You knew it was night time because in the text it says, you could have said that there was a full moon outside the car window, because when the moon is outside, we obviously know it's night time, so I could have had that one. Or you could have had the words, "It was a purple night." So as you know, it's like nighttime because it says night, and purple is the darker colour, so obviously it was heading towards the nighttime when the sun was not there. So there's 2 answers that you could have had for those ones. Any one of the ones that I've just said, you can give yourself 1 mark. How did Dad know that Oggy had woken up? So when him and Mum were discussing school, he obviously stopped mid-sentence because he realised that Oggy was listening. How do I know that Oggy was listening? It's because Dad stopped talking as he knew Oggy had woken up and listening, because in the text it says, we know how important those words are in the text it says because I am referring back to my text. He saw me in the mirror looking up. So Dad was obviously looking as he was driving, and in the mirror he saw on the backseat Oggy that was become awake. So that's when he stopped speaking. So I need that little bit of text to know that I've got that 1 mark. Number 6, Mum says Oggy is kind and smart. Write down 2 other words that she uses to describe him. So the 2 words is funny and then brave. You could add from all his surgeries, but there's 2 describing words. Adjectives are funny and brave, and you need both to get 1 mark, okay? Number 7, tick true and false as we go down. So Oggy had read The Dragon Rider when he was 6. Is true because he talks about that being able to read it when he was 6, and they were boasting about that to the headmaster, and the headmaster said he wanted to meet him. The previous year, the whole family had been on holiday. Yes, it's true because they said they went to, I think it was Mount Juic, and that is where Oggy caught the fish and had the photo taken that was later shown to the principal. And then the principal had never seen Oggy before is false. He had seen him because he'd seen him in the picture. Oggy asks, "Oh, does he know what I look like?" And Mum says, "Yes, we've shown him the picture of us on holiday together, so he knows what he looks like." And Oggy had an IQ test is false. He didn't have an IQ test. He thought he was having an IQ test because Mum lied to him, but instead he was having an entry test into the school. So we got true, true, false, false. For all 4, you got all 4 correct, well done, and you need 2 marks. You got 3 right, you need 1 mark. If you got 1 or 2 right, it's no marks this time, okay? And then finally, our last 2 questions. So questions 8, what evidence in the text suggests Oggy has a medical problem that makes him look different? I asked for 2 examples, so I've listed about 3 or 4 here, but I only need 2, okay? So if you've got 2 of ones that I've got, then good, great job. So I've said there are a few clues in the text that tell us that Oggy has a facial deformity of some kind and therefore has medical problems. So there are 3 things that I've picked out from the text. One is, everyone will stare at me in school, so he knows he's going to get stared at, so that suggests he's got something visibly wrong with him. I told him all about your surgeries and how brave you are, which is what Mum says. So obviously if you've had surgeries, you've had a medical issue in the past or in the present. If you've usually had surgery on something, it's to correct or help something. So that obviously tells me that he's been in hospital and had some medical issues. And he says, you won't be the only new kid. And then he says, I'll be the only kid who looks like me. So again, that suggests that he looks different because he won't look like a normal child, or he won't look like a child that we suggest is normal that will be into a mainstream school. So I've got 3 ones there that suggest that he's had something wrong with him, or he has a medical issue. I only needed 2 of those. So if you've got 2 out of my 3, then you get 2 marks. If you've got a different one, I wouldn't necessarily say it is correct because I did look through that text and I picked these 3 specifically. There are not really any others because they're quite vague in the way that they suggest. So these 3 are the key ones that I want you to use for your 2 marks. And then finally, question 9, why do you think Mum looks guilty when Oggy asks about the lady who gave him the test? And that is 2 marks again, so I need to know why she looks guilty and then some evidence. I said, Mum looks guilty because she lied to Oggy. She didn't want him to know that he was really taking a test to get into the school, not an actual IQ test. So she looks guilty because she's lied. Oggy thought he was doing an IQ test, so he's been misled, but instead he was doing the entry test to get into school. She does try to justify herself by saying it was a white lie and she didn't want to worry Oggy, but she still feels guilty for lying. I know this because in the text it says, again those key words, I know this because in the text it says, and then she says, a white lie, but yes, sorry. She said trying to smile, but then I didn't smile back. She turned in her seat and faced forward. So obviously she is very aware that Oggy is mad at her. So she smiled and then Oggy didn't smile back. So she's aware that Oggy's upset and that she should feel guilty. So if you've got something along the lines that I wrote, then you will get 2 marks. I need to know why Mummy's guilty. So because she lied to him for taking the test rather than the IQ test. And why we know she's guilty, so an extract from the text. It could be the bit that says Mum was guilty, Mum looked guilty, or the bit that I've said right there. Okay, so I think this one was out of 13, but I'm not 100% sure, 12 or 13. Give me your marks and send them into Dojo so I can have a look. Thank you.